Hello everyone, how are you? It's working! We have a new PC and we're playing with a new audio deck and everything's hunky-dory, touch wood. This week I am joined once again. Why did you change? Oh.
Yeah, there's some
Doo-doo!
white
There we go.
next to me, right?
Because I had chat open in the
Oh, yeah.
window and I'm just like, why did you shrink? Uh, Alright, cool. I'm here with our product owner, Sacha, who will be here to answer a bunch of everyone's questions. So I'm going to jump in and play the game in the background, nice and chill, and we'll keep, hey Ned, we'll keep an eye on the chat. We're online at the moment with YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook as per usual. And yeah. All right, let's just dive straight in. Is there anything that you wanted to sort of say or address straight off the bat, Sasha?
Just wanted to say hello to everyone, and it's nice to be finally able to join after like 2 weeks of technical issues and being able to actually get, you know, some new material, some new stuff, and actually being able to stream again. So that feels great. So hello everyone,
All right, let's bring in some questions.
and make sure
Questions.
to judge Meg as well as
Oh
she
wow.
is playing.
Yeah. I'm taking a go at pheasant hunting, and thus far I have not been successful. So I've been watching YouTube videos to try and think, or like to try and get my tips and tricks in, because I'll get them to flush, and then I just for whatever reason I just can't. I can't shoot them. It's just me. I suck. So, practice makes perfect.
Exactly.
Garlic cookies. Sorry, random context on YouTube.
Exactly. I mean, I see some questions already. I guess I can. I'm not picking favorite, just so you know, because the chat goes super fast. So I just see what kind of comes in. And first question: why did you all give PS4 a 21 gig update and a 59 gig update for Xbox? It's not really us that decides that. Um, I mean, to not get too technical, basically all platforms have a different compression system and technologies, and with what we make, we've had better luck. I would say with how Sony compresses their, the the data that we send into patch. So that's why you usually will get a smaller patch on PlayStation rather than Xbox.
There was also something in there about. I just want to kind of get this out of the way because I've been seeing a lot of it with regards to next gen upgrades. The answer is most likely not now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's not much to add. For now, it's there's backwards compatibility, right, from on the current gen platforms like the PS5 and the Xbox Series, so you can play the game, which is at least what we want. In terms of upgrade, there's just more like things that we think are higher priority. Even like some bugs that are mentioned and these kind of things from you all, and it's we're not looking into like that optimization at least for now. One is saying, how come I haven't gotten the update prompt on my Steam yet from the one and only Bexar? You will not get it on Steam because the hotfix in the patch was, I think, on the 17th of August for PC.
Yeah.
So it's actually right now we're just catching up consoles today.
Yeah. So you already have it.
Yeah,
Console just got all of their goods today.
exactly.
Is Jaxie in the chat? Hey, Jaxie.
Hello.
Ooh.
And do check out his streams on Classic as well sometimes, which is great fun.
Where are we? Sorry, I'm just gonna go up.
Is it the middle of the night on the?
It's 4 a.m. I'm
Okay.
going down to the next outpost that I need to unlock, and then I'm gonna skirt the river, sort of shore area. See if I can get some pheasant action, because apparently they should be feeding now. But yes, I need to be in the specific area. Wrong mouse.
Yeah.
Whoa. So, that's my mission thus far. Dogs would be
That's
great
fine.
to flush the birds. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah. If from T Dog 76, enjoy the name. If Great One's rate was lowered for Rancho, did that affect Leighton Lake as well? Is it rarer than it was before? So that I recall, usually I guess spawn rates are done by reserves, as you mentioned. So to my knowledge, yeah, I don't remember changing anything on Leighton on the Great Ones. I think it was just Rancho. But anyways, even if it were like, even if I'm saying some wrong information, the spawn rate were definitely wrong. So if they were lowered, they're definitely more correct now than they were before. At least what we want them to be.
I almost face planted into another cactus. We're fine.
Here we go. Hi Sasha. Any from Lagnarok Gaming?
Oh,
Any up?
hi.
Any updates on the frame drops on PC? Some apps are getting 20 FPS on certain parts of the maps. So I know we've been there's no updates now. I know we have a couple of things. I think especially related to Verhonga. That's one of like the heavy um, heavy like maps for us in terms of memory. In terms of if you have specific areas and kind of specific places and everything where it happens, I would say do send. I mean, generally it's better through support, but also through any channel. Like what kind of gear you're on, what where is it happening, and these kind of things, because that helps us pinpoint and test those things faster. Just so you're aware. So there's no update now, but there's a couple of things that we know we've been looking into memory for sure. Sacha, a few months ago, TK promised we'd be getting a Jackalope mini-mat. Any updates? April 1st,
Uh,
2022.
smooth. Someone from Facebook says, will there be more dog breeds in the future?
It's something that we're talking about quite a lot moving forward. So I mean, there's nothing confirmed. Obviously, I don't know. There's definitely something that we're looking into, like between just adding dog breeds and adding gameplay to the dogs. So they're like the dogs are into heavy discussions, I would say in general.
Yeah. Just quickly as well, Danny from YouTube said, how do we send you info for bugs through Xbox? Actually, on our support website, so support.thehunter.com, there's a whole bunch of blogs and FAQs on there, and there is one in particular that walks through how you can extract your save game file from all 3 different platforms and use that to send through to our support team. So then our lovely developers will get it and hopefully be able to repro any problem that you bring to us.
Yeah, exactly. Then we have from Sean O'Connell. Are you planning to have a loadouts option, paint switching weapons? Not right now. Not right now, in the sense that it's not going to come in the next few months. But loadouts is also a big thing that we're discussing. It's actually quite heavy to do. Like it's quite a heavy workload, but 100% align us with the team on like how can we bring this to the game, just so that you can have ready-made loadouts. Just will make your lives a lot easier. So it's definitely one of these what we call like quality of life updates, where we're discussing how would it work, when could we potentially do it. Is there anything? Question: What is from Friendly Pickle 52? Question: What is your favorite animal to hunt on the new map? I'll say Meg first.
Sorry, what?
What is your favorite animal to hunt on this map?
And you were saying I'm your favorite animal to hunt? What?
No, I'm saying what is yours? I can't answer.
I'm just like, wow, phrasing.
Exactly.
I'm favoring the whitetail at the moment. So I haven't been playing nearly any Mexico because I wanted to wait for it to come out on all three platforms so I could enjoy it with you lovely folks. So I sort of went back to Leighton Lakes for the most part, and I found myself hunting whitetail quite a lot. I enjoy that. I should branch out. I will eventually, but this is what I'm sort of favoring currently.
From my side, it's the peccary, simply because you can get quite a few in one go. Because they're in herds or in groups, and I'm so I also I kind of like being able to take a couple in one go. So I'd say peccary from my side.
Double tap.
Um, yeah, exactly. Then someone asks, yeah, do I play this game or any game? I play a lot of games for sure. I play also Call of the Wilds and Classic. I don't play Classic so much anymore, but I would say I probably have more hours in Classic than Call of the Wild overall with the time I've been at the company and playing these two games. So, but I'll catch up with Call of the Wild most probably. Uh, So yeah, whitetails fix for Layton on Xbox as well. So any population, any fix on population and such that have happened right now, you should be on the same version. You will be on the same versions on PC and Xbox. So that will be better for you as well. Persistent lag spike on all maps that I have on my. I have been getting persistent lag spikes on all maps that I have on PC. Any comments? If you get them all the time, that's a bit strange. I think there was another comment on at least on some maps and some areas. That's something we have noticed. Where again we're working on it. If you're getting persistent lag spikes, and I guess like FPS drops is what you mean, I would. I would double check, as well, like if there's anything, with your graphics drivers or these kind of things. Like that's not something we have consistently that everybody's getting it on every map.
Just gonna jump into another map quickly
Good.
because I can't see tracks.
Okay, we have a question from Mikael, because I'm guessing he is Swedish. I'm curious about the music in game. Who makes all the theme songs for all reserves? So we work with one composer called Mats Lundgren since the beginning. So a Swedish composer, and he's generally like been great and really been understanding of like what the game is about. So that's the person we've been working with, and we're super happy. He's the one giving us the main themes and such. And then they get direction, obviously, from our great audio team, which is we have two people, one called Piotr and one called Zevik.
Go, go, go. I clicked it, but apparently not enough. See, this is another thing. I've almost never hunted at nighttime before, so apparently you need to have the flashlight on for the tracks to show up even though you're right on top of them. Makes sense? Yes.
Psycho is saying, yeah, you're too early, track shows at 5.
Righto.
Don't know.
Let's try this anyway.
I can do it. I think pheasants, like I enjoy hunting pheasants on the map because obviously it's like we've added the new feature of flushing and everything, and it's kind of cool. But they're so hard. Like I don't know. Like I'm at least this one animal I'm having a hard time kind of consistently getting. Another question. All joking aside, are you considering ditching Call of the Wild and working on Call of the Wild 2 with a better engine? How concerned are you about ultimate hunting? Good question. So ditching Call of the Wild is not at all on the plans. Like in the sense that thanks to all of you and everything, we're able to kind of have a pretty long outlook for the future of this game. We're not a big team, but we haven't gone down in size now, and we're able to kind of support that kind of team size now. So that's the current plan. Like there's no plan to ditching on Call of the Wild 2. That's not we haven't even mentioned on what our next titles, these kind of things. So there's nothing really to say that. How concerned are you about ultimate hunting? Um, I mean, how do like we're not concerned in the sense that it's more that we think like any sort of competition is good. Right now, there's been like hunting simulator, there's been us, there's there are some hunting games, and we think that getting more players into our area, into what we are doing, that just makes us all want to be better. So there's no concerns. If anything, we hope that that they do well, that we can learn from each other and kind of give out the best game that we can. So yeah, like not concerned in that sense. Like
I saw some tracks in that area earlier
so
this
many
morning.
questions,
Look, I'll send the
so many
coordinates.
questions.
Oh, what's Marit saying?
Saying, let's see.
Are you thinking of about fixing the
Uh,
stacked need zones? I mean,
Stacked needs zone. Yeah.
there have been some
Um.
improvements. God, Troy was talking about it just after just after Rancho came out, and he was saying that someone went in and started doing some spring cleaning, as it were.
mm, and having stacked needs zone. I mean, that's something we need to double check on. I don't have the answer. I know it's something that we had uh, in our list of things to look into, and like again, as you said, there's been some improvements. So anything, I'll double check on this one. Actually, might be good. Uh, Wing Chun 86. Hi, expensive more than me myself. I love the game, and your team have done well. Can we expect a British Mac next? Highlands in Scotland. Yes. So, uh, thank you very much. First of all, like that's super. Like it's always super nice to hear. These things, and we're super happy to be like working on this project. I think every single one of us. In terms of a British kind of map, it like the UK is always like on our radar. It was actually one of the considered I would say maps instead of Rancho as well, in terms of like we started as well, where can we have pheasants, and that obviously in the UK pheasant hunting is quite big. So no date or anything, but it's definitely one of the requests that we have in our list of potential places to look into in the
Whoa!
future.
I took a stumble. Where was it? Will there be any kind of need zone filtering systems?
No, not right now, but I think that's a good suggestion into something that we can add into our task list. So there's nothing planned right now, but like if you want to add, yeah, I see it. Can you like add some sort of need zone filter? Like if I want to hunt whitetail, I can select whitetails, and no, that's a good point. Not in a plan now, but something that we can definitely add in our backlog of tasks and requests that we get that we can look into.
How long does the scent eliminator work for? Is it in game time or real time? I think it's half an hour in real time. Don't quote
I
me
mean,
on
it's
that.
it's definitely not. Yeah, like I don't remember how much it is on those things, those exact details, but we can check that as well. So, are there any plans on updating older maps with new animal? Medved needs love. Yeah, like there's nothing to announce. We always look into what we do and whether it makes sense to add new animals to older reserves. So, like pheasants is for example like a very good candidate to add to one to one of our base game maps. So there are things that we always need to. There's nothing concrete yet, but we always look into like, okay, how can we backfill and also fill up some others. You especially mentioned Medved. That's also one that's on our radar, but again, nothing concrete. Are you guys going to be better at releasing on every platform at the same time going forward? That's an interesting one. And I would say, like, again, our goal is always to try to sim ship. The important thing, I guess, to keep in mind is that for us, it's also better to sim ship. It's more like it makes it easier for Meg, and to be able to speak to you as well. It's like an easier message to say like this is coming out. It's better for the dev team because it's easier to just do a release, move forward onto the next one. Because then if we are actually not on the same version, we have to work on two versions. So it brings complications. Then there are certain realities, which is like, oh, we have something ready. Do we wait? Like these kind of things. But yeah, I mean, that was a long story, but the quick answer is that's we actually reviewed some things and we're continuing on reviewing why we were in a situation where we had to split ship, for example, this time. So yeah, the goal is yes, and there we go. Stream crashed on Twitch. I think we're having some issues.
Please hold.
There we go. That seems to be better.
I didn't do anything.
At least it's better for me. Is it better for the rest of you? Hey, you're back. Okay.
Phew.
Good.
We good?
Do you ever think of holding PC updates back to make the release on all three platforms? So yes, we do always think of holding it back. Actually, the PC release was held back a couple times just to try and catch up. Then other issues like specific, that came with either like each platforms or whatever that we had to fix came up, where we had to basically make the hard decision to split ship. But in practice, we actually always hold the PC release at least up until we go through certification. So yeah, it's always we always consider it, and yeah. Can you please add multiplayer map with all animals on it, kind of to have fun with friends and kind of overpopulate a bit, please, thank you. I guess that's like an
God mode.
easy mode. Yeah. I think you'd probably need, like our, what do you call it, our, dev tools in order to do that. Really.
Yeah.
But more seriously, I think
Again?
there's not. Again, this is something probably like long in the future, at least not coming up now. But what we've had discussions on is like, easy mode, hard mode. Do we want to kind of like dabble into those things? Not for now, for sure. But it's discussions that we do have. But it's why do Xbox
Sorry
Series not
about
have
the echo. It's fixed now.
Why
Someone's-
do Xbox? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, pardon me. Someone said Twitch was down again, so I just had to check.
Yeah, of course.
As
Looks
you
fine to me. Yeah. Why do Xbox Series not have the option to select from lists in multiplayer? Is there any chance of changing it to be more like PC and PS4 multiplayer? Good question. Let me double check. My guess is that it might be platform or some sort of limitations on it, but I will double check on it. Actually. So there's no direct plans, at least on it, but if it's a simple fix, I'll add it for sure into our tasks. Are a rework of skills and perks still on the table? Still on the table. It's something as well with the level cap, and these kind of things that definitely are still on the table. Zombie killing DLC when?
That would be
April
cool.
1st, 2023, after the Jackalope 2022. It seems that easy. It seems that easy mode already low. Yeah, I mean, it could be like it depends. Like Clay was saying, it seems like it's easy mode already. That's the thing. There's different types of players, right? So that's why we do have these discussions. Overall, I don't think we would definitely not do like an update, I think, to make it easier. Like that's definitely not, but maybe are there things that we can do better to make it easier and these kind of things, is what we think, how we think about it. And let's see, I have another one.
Any idea when the next great one comes out?
Any idea where the next great one comes out? Definitely an idea, and it's definitely something we're talking, but that's a surprise. We'll see. keep an eye on our social channels, and you'll get the latest information. Someone was asking, "Hey, I'm curious, are rhinos and or elephants, giraffes?" So I guess some of the big five animals going to be added. At least not right now. That's something actually, like, that's an interesting discussion, that we also have kind of internally, which is we're all about ethical hunting, but we're still a game, right? So how do we teach ethical hunting? And as well, especially when we talk about endangered species, we have some already in the game. So these are these are like discussions that we have quite often on how we want to do, and especially with these animals, because um, I mean, these kind of talks on the roadmap and discussions around it are being had quite often. That's what I will say. Like it's very requested by you for sure, or you are players, not you specifically who asked the question.
Where are we?
Are great ones and render glitches fixed? Yeah, that should all that should all be fixed. If you have issues, like specific issues, at least the ones I'm thinking of are fixed, like the render glitch that happened like after a certain render distance.
That should be
Uh, th-
fixed.
yeah, exactly. So if they're the ones you mean, they should be fixed. If not, let us know.
Just for reference as well, both in our Discord community and on our support website, there is a a known issues list that we keep relatively updated. So if you're encountering something or you're wondering if something has been fixed, go check that out. It's pretty big.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's everybody has different issues, especially I will take this one thing on PC with people having many different computers usually that can lead to different specific issues. But in general, we try to keep that list updated. We also keep on letting us know, because those kind of issues, that's how we also prioritize them as things move forward. And sometimes it's difficult because we have to look both at workload versus I guess the amount of pain that it might cause some of you. So keep letting us know. What about adding tranks to the game to study the endangered animals out? Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's interesting because, I guess talking again about like conservation and these kind of things, like these are exactly the conversations we have. And, we all know we're also a game, like, but we still want to be ethical, right? So this isn't the real world. So we can obviously make it into something that is both believable and that, would be ethical. So, I mean, at least we have all these discussions. So, and conservation with tranks, that's also something we've been talking about. I think you could add any animals as long as it's done well. That's generally, I think, how we feel about it overall. It needs to be done in a good way, and sometimes that's the tough part, right? It's much easier to add a whitetail than an elephant, for example. At least in our books and what we want to do. Low guns next for a weapons pack. I'm guessing. No, that's not yet. At least that's not. Do you think we will have a map in France one day? So that touches me right in the field. I'm actually from France. Originally. That's France is also a contender. It's often like it's one of those big hunting countries, right? With interesting kind of animal lineup. So we always have kind of that as well on the list.
Not having any luck finding them along the river here. They were here the other day, but I don't know. When I failed many times.
American Lodge. When? So no American Lodge plan right now. We're discussing quite a bit around the lodges as well, overall. So we don't really. I mean, Virhonga Savannah is Virhonga Saseca Lodge is obviously very much based on Virhonga. I don't know if the next one, or however we'll think will be necessarily thought of as like a specific location or these kind of things. But we're discussing definitely, how do we move forward with the trophy lodge, and kind of step it up a notch, because that's something that's been requested quite a bit on, you get those diamonds, you want to show them in a real way, and you want to make sure people have them. Are side missions ever coming back? I miss the challenge it brings to the map. So it's definitely not on this one, as you might know. Uh, we're always, so I don't know if they'll come in the same kind of way that we've done in the past, but we're kind of discussing ways of how uh, to add missions or side missions or what have you that uh, are different than how we used to do them, simply because not many players used to play actually our side missions or complete them. But we do want to kind of try and diversify as well. We think, at least our assumption is that they were maybe not always, very different, and maybe it was maybe a bit too repetitive. So we're talking a lot about um, how we can work around with different types of missions, because I mean it's been, although people didn't complete them that much, it's at least been something that's requested quite a lot, like when are they coming back, or so I don't have a date, but it's something that's pretty high up on the agenda, just so you know, at least on how to work with missions. Are you guys still working from home primarily due to COVID, and do you see those restrictions changing soon? So we're still working from home currently. uh, there are plans overall, I think, to start slowly getting some of the team, maybe not necessarily the Call of the Wild team, but it's actually more the company level, getting some of the teams back in different times. So there's no timeline I can really share, but for now we're still working from home.
Yes. Will you please add crocodiles and, was it more small hunting options? We always try and sort of come up with a nice diverse range of animals with each reserve.
Yeah, we try to keep it. And if you have specific, like crocodiles, it's a good suggestion. If you have specific suggestions as well, like that always helps out for us to, when we discuss new animals and things. Like, uh, I would say, the things that always come up, there's animals, there's places, and there's weapons. So those things, like if you get the more specific, and the more specific we get from the community, like these are always being discussed and always kind of being slotted in the roadmap. So like, uh, let us know. New map in northern Canada, maybe similar to Medved, but Arctic fox, caribou, and maybe polar bears. Interesting one. Uh, Canada is also, actually, I was thinking, I don't think Canada, but Canada is actually on one, also like the kind of short list of usual suspects. Um, if you are a classic player as well, it's actually kind of interesting. We have, oh, now I don't remember the name, but we have an Arctic map, and it has the Arctic fox and the polar bears on them. So, it was pretty light. So it is something, that definitely could be, in our alley to do as well.
Australia is also on that map too, FYI. I mean, list. Map. Map is on the
Yeah.
list.
Australia? What? No. I've never heard someone ask for Australia. White Rim Ridge. Thank you. White Rim. That's how we say it. White. Thank you. Thank you. That's the one. Uh,
Have you looked into the tearing of terrain on certain maps?
and are there any plans for further render distance for grass? Thank you for the new. You're welcome for the new map. Tearing terrain, a thin white line. So we have some terrain issues that we've actually noted, and I mean, I don't remember the thin white line, but I think there's a few things with terrain that we've looked into, and overall, we're looking on how we can actually improve that, at least moving forward. Um, so definitely, like something that we always look on how we can do better. Increased render distance for grass, I would say not right now. Um, I mean, I'll just come back to some of the things like you were discussing, like some people were discussing FPS drops and these kind of things. So those are the things that we first want to fix, kind of optimize to make sure that there's in some instances we have better performance, rather than adding things like render distance. Even though it'd be great for gameplay, it's also very costly in terms of memory and data usage, which can cause some of these drops, for example. That would be amazing. Loving the sound of this sort of short screen. Like, I mean, yeah, we have. I would say, like, in terms of a list of regions and these kind of things, that's we have quite a few. But I would say, like, there's definitely a top 5 to a top 10 that kind of consistently comes up. And we always try to do our best to try and add it. Second Africa map as well.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, realistically, every country could be added, but unless the gameplay is shaken up a bit more, it wouldn't do very much basically to change what we already have. And I think that's a good point. Like, when we that's also part of like our choosing process. Actually, when I'll take Rancho de Arroyo now, for example, when Pheasant for us was like a must. Like, that's what we call, like, even though it might not be like the most exciting looking, when you just look at like a small bird, right? But it's the one that gave us the opportunity to do flushing and to do like a different type of hunting. And for us, that's always super important. Like, uh, although, as you notice, there are some reskins, there are these things. We always want to make sure that we try out a new angle as much as possible so that there's something happening. Any thoughts about releasing DLC on PC as a paid beta early access that could be opted into, leaving the stable version alone until any new issues are sorted out? There could, yeah. So basically, are there any plans? I will summarize. Are there any plans to kind of make sure we don't hurt stability with a new release? Not specifically in the way you've noted, but there is actually we've been discussing internally on. Um, how do we ramp up our quality assurance, which we call QA, and how do we upgrade, or like how do we do better as well with our beta testing community, and how do we do this more significantly? Because when we do QA as well testing, one thing that's important is there's so much to test because the game is getting so big, that they use tools, right, to test it, and sometimes we don't use, uh, let's take an example. When the dog was released, we don't have, we don't have someone every time we make a change test upgrading the dog just by normal gameplay, because that would take hours and hours, right? So we have these tools to do it. um, Same with like population things, like when we change the population, it's really hard to see up until a lot of people have tried it out. So our goal is, is basically discussing how we can upgrade these competences moving forward to make sure that we're a bit more stable with what we release. Why doesn't EW release a roadmap for Call of the Wild? So basically, why don't we share a roadmap earlier? Um, I think it's simply in terms of how we want to manage expectations as well, and to make sure that we we don't force ourselves, and especially moving forward, I think that we don't force ourselves into promising a release, and then when we release it, it's completely broken. Like, I think, on top of, again, as a lot of you, and quite rightfully so, mentioned there's been some issues, whether it's split ship and all these things, and we basically don't want, like, we don't want to be in that situation where we put ourselves in the corner where we all the time have to say, well, listen, this isn't going to be exactly on that date, and these kind of things. We're heavily working on trying to be more predictable to like SimShip and these kind of things. But I think we first have to internally make sure that we can get into this right and I think that's a big focus for me at least. And I think the team get into this right kind of mode where we release when we think we're going to release, and we release at the same time on all platforms. And then I think that's kind of the next step. So that's one of the reasons, like I think we're probably not going to share as well, like at least in the near future, uh, how it is.
CSN from YouTube says, what about beta testing for console as well as PC?
So and overall, you get the same. It's important. You get the same kind of. You get the same build. There are some differences because obviously the machines are different, so you'll get kind of the same thing. So we do do it on PC. Beta testing on consoles is actually a lot more difficult, simply with the tools that they offer. So I don't imagine us doing that as one in year and even the midterm. Maybe there might be solutions coming up from the platforms that can help us. I think it's going to be primarily PC focused. However, again, I can say that like overall the issues that you are having, because we work on the same build, they are roughly the same. So if we can get into a zone where we are, doing better on PC, it will be better on consoles.
If we did do that in the future as well, those as to what you were saying before about the platforms, we'd need to have dev kits, and that would need to be internal testing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I mean with why it's not as easy. Like right now to test, like what exactly what Meg is mentioning is you need specific hardware that is actually very expensive now in order to kind of test these kind of things early. To do a real beta, not just a marketing beta where like, oh, this is a beta, and then that's actually what you're gonna get, right? Like to do a real kind of test. So it's much more difficult. While on Steam, you basically can create a specific kind of hidden branch that, let's say, all beta testers have access to, and that's just easier. If you guys are going to keep doing everything the same, what's going to change? Well, that's the thing. We're trying not to do the same thing. I think there's also I also want to add that we can't, if we kept doing the same thing, it would definitely also get worse as the game both gets older, but also bigger and more complex. Because a game, especially like Call of the Wild, that basically with every few months passing, when we add something, it adds complexity to the game. So it needs to be reviewed, and it's something that we are reviewing 100%. So again, we've already started to try and review for the end of the year some of the things. So hopefully that's gonna help us sim ship the next couple of updates. That's definitely the goal. And then moving forward is kind of I would say again being predictable and also trying to how do we up our game quality wise, again with, as mentioned, like QA kind of probably upgraded beta testing, and any suggestion you guys have as well, like are definitely open. But we have those discussions, and these are concrete discussions. Tying back to my previous question about COVID, would you say those restrictions they went up, have caused a negative effect on the production of the company? And if those restrictions, do you think certain problems that have arisen recent will be less likely? So it's both a yes and no to the situation. I think definitely it's much harder, to coordinate a team and multiple teams, like even the marketing team and different teams and the development team, when you can't just pop over or do like these kind of things. So it definitely came with a lot of challenges. I think something, do we think some things are less likely to happen? I think overall we had a pretty good kind of understanding of how to get things out and these kind of things. Some things we want to make less likely to happen because we're changing how we work. And that's regardless of whether it's working from home or from the office. So I think let's put it. Yeah, if we didn't change some of the things we did, we probably the issues would be as likely, maybe a bit less. But we are trying to change those things, whether we're in the office or not.
What have we got? Any new vehicle plans?
Vehicles, not for now. At least that's not a big focus of the game. I mean, we're open to suggestion, but I guess from our side, we have like the ATV. You have then in terms of fast travel, you have the tents and the outpost, right? So we think you at least have that possibility. But no, not for now. But if you have good suggestions, just let us know. And then Jaxie said, "What are your thoughts on preset loadouts?" We had this question a bit earlier as well. So that's a quality of life update that we look into a lot. It's probably not in concrete terms into like the midterm kind of future for now, because it's quite like a heavy change. Especially, but it's definitely like something we talk about, because that would be like make the lives of some of you, like especially the people who play a lot, to be honest, like a lot easier. You are welcome for any answers. Thank you for asking the questions.
European skull mounts in the future. That'd be interesting.
What was the question? I just missed it.
So in the pardon me, in our hunting lodges, we've got our taxidermied animals. Someone was asking whether or not we were thinking of adding just like the European sort of skull mounts, or just bones.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, now I understand. We actually have some of these in the office, but they haven't made it into the game. So we do have a couple in the, not right now, but I think that's an interesting one. Do you think? I think that will be upon popular request how likely this is to happen. Right now, it's definitely not, in the direct plans.
With regards to the patch notes, they're currently in our Discord community. You'll also find them on Steam. They're actually exactly the same as they are on console for both the patch and the original release. I've also spoken to support about having them put up on our support website as well.
It seems so. Someone's saying basically that we are mainly focused on revenues. Like we're saying that maps and certain things are on the list, and other quality of life updates such as stacking zone, loadouts, vehicles, hunt club. Really, anything that's quality of life is not on the list. So I mean, it's I would say it's definitely not our main focus. Like there's the focus of revenue, simply unfortunately because we are a business, and with anything that comes up, like any quality of life update that we do, we need to have people to be able to do them. And then the game gets more and more complicated, as said, so there's more issues that we have to look into. Now, do we not look into at all into quality of life updates? I would say not. I would say that's inaccurate, but obviously, everybody's entitled to their opinions in terms of things that you mentioned. Hunt Club, that's something that's stopped for a while, and that's actually something that that is something we're also looking into. In terms of like great ones, I would say that's also something that's not revenue generating that we're looking into. Bugs in terms of the known issues and how as well how we want to work with quality of life updates, and what I was telling about like our system on at least getting the quality updated. That's something that we are also looking into. Now, then there's always a choice. Like there's always different things that happen at the same time. Of, how do we, how do you prioritize? And we take both, again, like I said, both into consideration. And at the end of the day, there's a reality that we need to support our team. Otherwise, we cannot do any sort of updates. Hope that clarifies some of it. I understand that it might not seem like it from the outside all the time, but we definitely take it into all considerations for sure. I'd actually, I think Loadouts actually benefits the infrequent player. If I only play here and there, yeah, that's a good point. So basically, the less you play, then yeah, you can just click and kind of get going. That's a very fair point. Agreed on that for sure. Good point. any updates on Hunt Club? So there's not going to be any changes coming now. Where I'm not going to give a timeline to make sure there's nothing going on there, but we are working on basically getting definitely something that we are working on overall is like how do we make Hunt Club running again and potentially try to improve it. So that's something that like I would say in the midterm to long term, that's a very concrete thing. Let's see some other questions.
It says David from YouTube is like the camera on console is broken except for a mission. I don't think I've seen that one before.
No, me neither. So I would suggest contacting support with potentially a video of what you're seeing, because that does help us, and try and give us as much information as possible, like what map, do you get it everywhere? But it's as at least new to me. Sasha, any plans for true weights? So every animal is different, bears, ducks. So not true weight. I would say we're discussing things like I think like so animals that do not have horns, antlers. How do we deal with them in terms of great ones and true racks, I guess, but mainly maybe in terms of great ones and these kind of things. How can we make them more interesting as well? Some of the rare animals. So that's something that we're discussing in quite a bit.
Someone also mentioned before that what was it? In your trophy lodges, it would be cool to have like full wall murals or be able to put your photos, your screenshots up in photo frames and whatnot. I know that The Sims does that. It's really cool.
That's I guess like a more of a trophy lodge, like
Just more
actual like
personalization.
lodge management. That's an interesting one. We have plans for. I mean, we don't have direct like concrete things, but we actually have quite discussions on like how do we evolve the trophy lodge. So any suggestion is definitely interested. The wicked, no problem for sharing the information. Push loadouts in the development feature list. Definitely, I'll talk with the team and see for sure and see where it goes. Again, I don't think it's going to be midterm, but or anything direct. But thanks so much for the input.
Going up. Where have all the questions gone? We got 7 minutes, people. Keep those questions coming.
Let's see if there's some. Any updates to GUI? I guess you mean mainly the UI and the UX kind of things. There are some small updates planned on UI and different UX things. So definitely some things that are planned. You're talking about icons and these kind of things. That's what we are. Some of these things we're actually definitely talking about into again like a maybe not the next release or maybe the one after that. So definitely some plans on there. Find info. Oh, here we go. I guess maybe for you, Meg. Meg, new to the game and love it so much. Where can I find info on the PS4 patch update I just received?
Something that I touched on just before as well. So at the moment, those patch notes are up on Discord, and they're actually in Steam as well because they're the same patch notes. We're also getting support to put it on that official website too. So if you're not a member of our Discord community, please do so. Join us.
Could we have a toggle key for hiding showing tracks? I'm guessing you want that kind of a hardcore mode kind of thing.
Like macro.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we don't have it now, but I that's something that definitely can be added. We have like, for example, the hide HUD, right? So it's not as easy as that, obviously, but we'll definitely something we can add at least in the backlog of things.
Wait, actually, no. Any plans to enable cross-platform play?
Not currently. It's pretty complicated as well for a smaller studio and kind of team for us to do. Usually, it's the very big games that kind of do it, and we see definitely some value in it. So we've looked into it, but I would say not for now at least. Will the Coyote model be updated in the future? Did we ever send out this survey about the animals?
Yeah, the animal art improvements.
Yeah, right. I
Yes,
think
that
we
one
did,
was
right?
sent out.
So just to, because will the Coyote model be updated? So that's a good point. We've actually sent a survey because we did want to update, and that's one of the quality of life things that are pretty much quite concrete. Is we want to update some of the models, and I think like the Coyote right now, if I'm like, is extremely skinny, and these kind of. I mean, there's other ones. So I can't say when, but there's concrete plans of updating some of these models to be a bit more true to life. What about selectable friendly fire? So that's definitely not in the plans, but I guess share an anecdote if that's kind of fun. So when we first started developing the game, we had one of the original designers on it. So we used to play a bit of PUBG together, and we said, what about like what if there was PUBG in in the game? And so he made like a small alteration where he added like friendly fire like on the, but again those changes like we cannot just make them into the game because they need to be very much tested and do a whole lot of things. But it was just like a fun thing where he just added something and we tried shooting each other, like in the game. It was extremely broken, but it was kind of fun, kind of fun to try. Any other surveys in the works? Yes. There are other surveys that we plan to do. Some based on accessibility. Some, there's we have a few things. We have so many things we want to do, so but like we always want to get your input first, and yeah, we hope to get like another survey out, in the near future.
There is that one on accessibility that we were talking about releasing this week, but I suggested that we hold off and wait until everyone had got Rancho del Arroyo and to see what the feedback was before we started pushing out more questions.
Yeah. And then some other using the binoculars to set waypoints. Pretty good suggestion. Something that we can also add. Can you please add swimming in the game? I would say we're not for now. I understand where it is. We're definitely not going to do it. I think that these are one of the things where it's like it's not the suggestion makes sense, right? Because you want to travel, want to travel through the water. But with all these changes, especially these things comes a lot of extra testing as well because we've never done like water travel in the game. So that's actually a huge thing. Should we do it? So I don't think for now, but it's an interesting kind of thing. What's next for Call of the Wild? Many things. Any plans on licensed firearm brands? That's something we're discussing actually. Maybe not necessarily firearms, but just in general. Like one thing that we talk a lot about, and that does one of the things is how do we get licensed products and a whole bunch of things into the game and get even closer to the hunting community. So for sure, something that we have, and not only for firearms. I can't say when or if or like more. I guess when this is going to happen, but definitely something that we talk a lot about.
Okay. We're almost at time. Did you want to maybe pick one or two more before we wrap this up for the day?
There's someone, Alphabet. Thank you so much for it was just being nice. Let's see. Let's pick a final one. Let's see. I'm just checking. Any potential? I mean, I'm just reading random. Any potential for jungle maps? I guess that will be the final one. For sure. For sure, something to think about. I mean, there's jungle we talk about in a lot of ways, like dense vegetation and, these kind of things that could be fun to add into the game. So definitely one of the, I guess, the biomes, if you call it the jungle biome, something that we've talked about. But I guess that's then, is it time, Meg, our timekeeper?
Tis the time has come, the walrus said. Thank you, Sacha, for joining us and answering the million questions, most of which were actually really good. Yeah. If you haven't joined our Discord already, please do so. That is where most of our core community hangs out. That and Facebook too, but Discord is cool. And check out our social media for news and updates. We post semi-regularly and also share bits and pieces for our community creators as that sort of comes out, just to share some love and whatnot. Next stream is for Classic on Thursday at 4 p.m. Otherwise, if you're looking for more Call of the Wild, join us again next Tuesday. In the meantime, have a great afternoon, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you
Bye.
very